If you followed me for a while, you might know that I am alright at chess. And if you've played any chess at all, you might be familiar with chess.com's game review, where after a game they will give you some symbols in association with most moves you make. I will be doing the same for competitive Mario Kart World. Here's the rundown of each type of move. Starting with Brilliant Move, which is a fantastic move that is unexpected despite a difficult situation I am put in. Great moves are the best possible move that is hard to find given the situation. Best moves are exactly what they sound like, the best move, but it's something that I should find. Inaccuracies are minor mistakes, but are somewhat understandable, and they don't end up costing too much. Mistakes are things I should be doing much better, but they're not a huge detriment to the race. And finally, blunders are mistakes that I should never be making under any circumstances that absolutely do cost me the race. Let's begin with the mogi. So now we begin the actual mogi portion of the video, where I'll be sprinkling the moves throughout. And I have two additional quote-unquote moves that wouldn't normally apply to chess, but they do apply to Mario Kart. So things like this, for example, where I get bumped, that's more of like a coincidental thing that's going to happen about half the time, so I'm not going to really count it as a mistake or an inaccuracy or a blunder, for example, even though something bad did happen to me. That's just one example, but that's a great move. Reading out the guy with triple shrooms, just make sure I don't get bumped or shroom boosted off the shortcut. That's going to be very key to keep my front presence. It was possible probably to stay on the track, you know, without that green, but that just makes it much, much easier for myself. Now we have Feather Triple Bananas, which is a decent pull, all things considered. If everything goes well, I'm going to be feathering up in the shortcut once again. This time it's going to be much better for me because I don't fall off the rail, for example. That is obviously a blunder. I don't even know how I thought I wasn't going to hit that Podoboo, but it happened. I pulled a blooper, my best friend. Target bloopering absolutely nobody, but it doesn't really matter. It's not like these guys would make a big mistake. But this, on the other hand, this is a brilliant move. Getting the double as well gets me another feather. 3 feathers in one race. That's pretty lucky. But that cut really kept me in the race there. If I didn't get that, I would be stuck where the swoops are just behind me, and I'd have no good items. So instead we have a feather, and I'm going to be feathering up into probably like 3rd or 2nd place. Let's see. Almost 3rd, but then I get trailed. Probably could have avoided that, but I would have had to brake drift or go really tight, and I don't know. That, though, that is just sad. That is the other sign, I guess, the other move, which is the unlucky move, the red X, and that'll be showing us all the times I get unlucky. This, though, this is not unlucky. I just missed the charge jump before the cut. Since I got it earlier in the race, I thought, why not go for it again? But luckily, I pull a bill. So, this would be considered lucky if it's going to show up anytime soon. There you go. Now, we get that into 8th place. Salvaged by a race there. I probably would have got 11th because the guy in last just is doing whatever. But that got me an extra 3 spots, which is really nice. Now, we're going to Desert Hills, where, you know, I like to bag this track quite a bit. I also like to try and go for shrooms. Just depends on what I see people doing at the start. And since I have to stop a lot, I decide I want to actually bag this, get triple shrooms plus a star. I end up going for these coins, which was probably the best thing I could have done, because if I don't go for those coins, I'm going to be starving for them for the rest of the race. This, though, this was a great move because now I get to take an extra shortcut that I wouldn't have otherwise. And like 95% of the time I get this. The other 5% of the time, it's like star triple shrooms. I can just go around the shortcut and chain and be fine regardless. So I was covered basically either way, even with that play. So I have 2 shrooms and a star with 15 coins. And I'm just going to take the 2 shroom cut, unless something weird is happening in front of me. That is a weird thing. It's a bomb, but I do think that doing the 2 shroom cut here is good. I wouldn't take the 1 shroom cut, and the note here is going to explain why. Mainly because you know, getting ghosted would probably be, you know, a pretty common occurrence, but a lot of people don't use their ghosts until the end, and I think even if my star gets ghosted, I'm in a good spot, whereas if I took only the one shroom cut, I'd be in 4th or so, and not have any chance at 1st place. But luckily I get another shroom as well, which I don't think it would have mattered. I would have done the charge jump shortcut to get 1st anyways, but the shroom is very nice to have, and it gets me a solid 1st place. And this is a 2v2, by the way, if you couldn't tell. I don't know if I'll put it in the beginning of the video, but I'm with Gold. We were actually calling at the time, so I will be pointing out some instances where we could have either improved, or if I could have said something, or if he could have said something. I'm not necessarily, because this was like a week, I'd say, earlier than when I'm actually doing the post-commentary, so I don't remember everything that happened, but I do remember some key parts. Anyways, we're moving on to Wario Shipyard, where I do get the Nisk at the start, which was pretty good. It wasn't amazing or anything, but it was pretty good. This Mario, I think, got a huge draft, or he had like a shroom or something. Either way, though, we're still in a good spot. Gotta collect this box in 2nd. We got a shroom, which I was not prepared for. It ended up taking a horrible shortcut, which this is where I believe our first question mark move is, our first mistake. And my teammate's actually right behind me, but I didn't see him right behind me there, so I actually backed either 1 or 2 people off, and my teammate ends up getting into 3rd place. And I don't think he called that he died, and so I just had to trust myself that he wasn't there, even though sometimes it'll lag. I believe I saw him die right next to me to another red, but either way, that was still really good. That was just a bad shortcut. That's going to happen sometimes. It wasn't too bad in the grand scheme of things. That, though, giving my teammate a head bounce, taking out one of his reds, forcing him to take a bad cut, and get redded, that was just... If anything, that's a double blunder. That was really, really terrible. That just completely destroys our chances at getting top 2 this race. And now I have to bag. I do end up going because of the fact that bottom 4 was pretty far behind, and my teammate was also bagging. Did not pull anything good, but I don't really deserve it, considering how bad of a mistake that was. Could pull a golden here, which would really save things. We'll see. Actually, it looks like... I do back out to... Yeah, I do back out to 9th. I actually kind of forgot what happened here, but I'm not really counting that as anything. You pull a mega. Because I could have kept going and maybe made something out of this race as well. Kind of like a split path, parallel universe sort of thing. But yeah, I'm using this mega here, which I think was the best move. Because if the shock happens there, I'm just totally dead. Whereas if the shock happens here at the end, I can kind of make it work. And it ends up coming right before the set for me, so I get an 8th place box, and it's triple shrooms golden. So that was a pretty above average shock for me, but there's a lot of shocks that are going to be above average there for you, especially at the end of the track. Because there's a lot of boost panels, a lot of places to launch, things like that. But almost every single shock that I used my mega at would have been bad for me, so that's why I think using the mega there was the better play, even though it would have worked out better for me this time if I used it later. But yeah, we are in a decent spot overall, despite the many mistakes we've made so far, which, you know, it could be worse. Could be worse. And now we got Dino out of jungle, which I do bag and end up not getting a star because nobody else is bagging. This isn't very typical of Dino out of jungle, but I have another set to get a star, potentially, if people back out, for example. And some guy does. I don't know why he did that. I end up only chaining my shroom, which I think was really nice, because I do want triple shrooms plus a dodge. Plus the double is kind of contested anyways. And now I have 2 shroom star in 8th place, which is definitely not bad. At this point, I'm kind of just driving to see if things happen in front of me, if I need to adjust, or if nothing happens and I can take the cut and have shroom star in a decent spot, which so far is looking like the latter. There's a lot of coins, but I couldn't collect them because I'm on the dino tail trying to go fast. Now I'm in 7th, and I'm pretty close to 1st, actually, at this point. So I'm in a really good spot overall. Had to go wide because of the bill. My teammate's right next to me. And here is a critical decision. What do I do? Do I hold the shroom or do I chain it? And I think this chain was actually a great move because if I get shrooms there, I can just win the race. If I don't, I can maybe chain it, or I can hold my star past the set and try and dodge a later shock in case I don't feel like I'm going to be pulling shrooms. And in the 7th place box, it's not, you know, terribly unlikely I don't pull shrooms, but I didn't want to risk it. I looked behind me, don't see anything that could hurt me. But unfortunately, he had a boomerang after his Mega Mushroom, which, yeah, I mean, you can't really expect that. And that sends me all the way down to 9th place. I was looking back, so if he did throw a boomerang earlier, I could have maybe seen it and swerved and things like that, but it was his first rank shot after a Mega Mushroom. Definitely could have had, like, golden. Could have had no item, because he could have just missed the box. Or, you know, things like that. Regardless, though, I think I'm playing not great so far, but not horrible either. And you guys will see my performance rating that I'll give myself at the end of the video. Right now, if I had to give myself a performance rating, it'd be around 11,000 MMR, which is mid-ruby, which would not be good. And especially with that mistake, that really throws away my running chances. Or not necessarily running chances, but the chance to really be in a top spot, because I just lost a few seconds there. But I did think I was getting a draft, that's why I tricked off early. You don't want to go too far there. I ended up accidentally hammering my teammate. I don't remember if he called he was swimming up or not, but even if he did, I think I would have still thrown the hammers forward. And unfortunately I get target hammocked, so I can't take the feather cut. And I have to bag here, barely dodge the chain chomp. But the good thing is nobody else is really bagging, so I get golden plus triple shims. Not the greatest pull, but at least it's workable. I wouldn't really want, like, a mega there, for example, but triple shims is workable. Unfortunately, though, literally everyone is bagging, so I just have to stop because I don't have anything good. In a 10th place box, and it is, again, golden triple shrooms, which kind of sucks. I do a great job, though, of avoiding the gold shell. And at this point, I didn't want to keep on stopping with these guys, because they were super far ahead in the front. And since I'm pretty distance away from 7th, I thought I could pull a golden, and that would actually be decently likely from this spot. But I do get a boomerang. It's like a 50-50, so I'm not going to call it unlucky there. For the official count of things, but I can still catch up with this. Like, I'm in 6th right now. All of a sudden, I'm in 5th with a shroom. Like, this could work, but there's a shock. And, you know, I'd probably die regardless, but it would have been nice if there was no shock. Actually give me a chance at staying in the front, and then I, again, do not pull anything good. No bill, no mega, no star, no nothing, so that's just the way it is. I do salvage 9th somehow, but definitely could have been a whole lot better. I don't really think I played that bad, except for the very beginning, which, you know, it actually might have cost me, because I would have been way in the front, probably not got ghosted, and been in a much better spot for the entire race. Now we got Rainbow Road. There's going to be a lot of moves in here, I can tell you that much, but maybe not as much as you think. Who knows? The start, though, I usually like to try and high roll for shrooms, and I do actually get them. A lot more people tend to bag at the first set, but I was pretty lucky that I got that box in 10th. Because normally you're going to be like 5th or 6th, because a lot of people try and get triple shroom star at the start. I like to just go for triple shrooms, because it gets you in the front after the 2 cuts in lap 2. And since you only need 2 shrooms for those cuts, I decided to shroom up here. Maybe get into drafting range, because this guy in front of me used his shroom as well. I do not get into drafting range, but I'm pretty close, and the guy behind me actually drafts up, which could be good for me, because he could also kill him, which is exactly what happens. Just kidding, he lags through it. But he's going to back these greens and absolutely annihilate that guy, so luckily for me, I am alive. all because I gave him a draft, and that's totally what happened. Now, I was kind of wondering why in the world is he backing so aggressively, but I realized his teammate was in first, so it all came together. He does have one shroom in first too, so if he got rid of me and the other guy with 2 shrooms, it would have just been potentially gone in top 2. But since he did miss, now I have these triple greens to take him out, which I was indeed successful in doing. I shroomed him a little early just to cover a potential trail, which I don't know if it mattered in that instance, but it could have mattered, and it's good to kind of keep that in mind. If you're ever taking a shortcut when you're right next to somebody, you can use the shroom as early as possible. That's usually better than not. And I actually can't tell if I hit him with that back or not, but I'm gonna count it as a great move because that just means that I get more points for myself in the end. And also, I think that's a good back regardless, even if it didn't hit, because it forces him to go wide. Fortunately, getting ghosted there really sucks, because the right play there is to just chain the coin, because you don't want to go for the double at the next set, and you don't want to be defenseless for a long time, so that was definitely correct. It's just, you know, the 3 seconds in between chaining and using the feather was the time I got ghosted, and that's going to happen sometime. Now, I am looking back here to see what this guy has. He has a shroom, so I decided to throw the green forward, but he had a shroom and a red. And my teammate was behind me, so I didn't want to back. And then this guy has triple reds behind me, which is not good either. And I could have maybe reacted to that red in time. Not too sure, but yeah, that's quite unfortunate. But I'm not going to consider it an unlucky thing, because I could have also dodged the red and maybe gave my teammate a chance at staying in the front, because I think he got redded off. I'm not too sure. Maybe he lived. I don't remember. Either way, now I'm begging for Bill, because I am not in a good spot. And I do get it. Just barely. This is going to be very crucial for me to get a potential mid spot here, because, or even top spot if there's a shock, of course. Because at this point in the race, all I got to do is just run up the Bill and hope for the best. And if I didn't pull Bill, I would have had to wait at that set for a really long time, especially since I went on the left side, because the positions are kind of weird. On the right side, you're much further back, I guess, for some reason, even though it's much faster. It's hard to explain. Regardless, though, we end up billing, and this bill is going to take us a long, long time. It's a great bill extension at the end. And it looks like I'm going to get at least 6th here. And I shroom up, try and get this draft, but then he has a horn. Huh? Maybe I could have avoided him. Maybe. But there was triple natives behind me as well. I'm going to consider that on me, especially since I consider the other instance of me getting a back on the other guy. That may or may not have happened. A great move. I'm going to consider that an inaccuracy in response. So, yeah. We're moving on now to the back half of the Mogi. We're on Cheep Cheep Falls, which, you know, is one of my favorite tracks. So hopefully I can perform nicely here, show how it's done. We'll see if that actually happens, though. Coin block is a great start. Gets me all the way up to 10 coins. Shroom would have been nice, too, to get away, but yeah, you take a coin block in that instance, and barely avoid the nanas. Go tight. And now I'm just in first with a ton of coins. Gonna build a breakaway, as long as there's not a bunch of shroomers coming up. I'm going to do the fanciness, which I'm not going to consider anything. It's just my normal driving, so it's a pretty good fanciness too, because I got a ton of speed out of the cut. But this, going wide for this guy, I should not have done that. I should have tried to contest him. But luckily for me, I'm just the best. I end up greening him off the track, so he doesn't green me while he dies. He doesn't trail me. And now I just have myself back into first place. I realized a little bit too late that it was bad to let him into first, but it worked out in the end, so good job me. A little bit of a tiny fail there, but just got to make this shortcut, and I accidentally trick off of the little hump, and it doesn't lose me first somehow. But it's still really bad, because I could have been gone in first, instead of just barely in first. And I might have to contend with some items here that I don't like. We'll see. Hold a green. Which is not the worst thing ever. Hopefully I make Tarzan. Because, I haven't gotten 3 for 3 in a while. And I'm going for the back. I don't think that back connected. And my guess is that I probably need to back that earlier. But yeah, we just need to make this final miss. We probably get first. And my charge jump just doesn't come out. I don't think I could have done anything different, to be honest, but I'm going to have to consider it a blunder just because normally I would make that. I don't know how my charge jump didn't come out that time, but it is what it is. We gotta be consistent with how we're scoring things, even though I'm not too sure I could have done anything about it, because sometimes the rock is just weird with the physics. And maybe I got one of those rare times, or maybe I'm just bad. It very well could be either. But now we're on Whistle Stop, where I'm starting 7th. Not the greatest for me, but if I just get triple shrooms here, I could end up at the front, and I do pull triple shrooms. Now I just gotta make the shroom gap, which is pretty difficult, but I've made it plenty of times. So let's see, what can I do? And I left drift instead of charge jumping. The thing is, you have to start your charge jump and then instantly hold left. So it is very failable, like I just did, but it's not something I should be failing, is the point. Get Gold Shell Golden. Gold Shell was actually pretty nice in this instance. I just got 12 coins for free. And the Golden was also pretty good to catch me up into the front. So not a bad item pull, even though normally you wouldn't consider that very good. Making Red Rock, very nice. Now I have greens to take out these guys. But I fail the first one, and the second one just hits some reds. I do pull a feather, and I barely avoid the gold shell. So this brings me up into 4th. Let's see, can I make this Nisk? A lot of people in front of me. But it looks like the 2 people in front of me bumped each other off the Nisk, so now I'm in first. And I go for these extra tricks, which seems like a very unnecessary risk. But this pack I knew was going to be very close behind me. And if you take a look, there's a boomerang that would have hit me if I just went slightly slower. So I consider that a brilliant move on my end. It was very risky, but it paid off in the end. And now, as long as I make no terrible mistakes, I should get first. But there's a target shock. The worst target shock I think I've ever seen on this track. Which, now that I've seen the guy has a golden, considering it unlucky, because maybe could have still won if that guy didn't have a golden, but that shock was brutal. Gets me 3 less points than I should have got that race, but it is what it is. It's Mario Kart. That's going to happen sometimes. And let's see. We are 3rd overall, tied 3rd. Teammates last, but I think we're still in it to win it going into the last GP. So, if I can keep performing the way I have been in the previous couple races, we might have a chance, especially if my teammate makes a little bit of a comeback. So, I end up trying to go for a dodge at the start, but literally no one's bagging, just like on Dino Dino Jungle, which is very strange for both tracks, to be honest. But luckily for me, I can just get the dodge next set, or can I? Because this guy is stopping for a long time. And I didn't get redded, which was really nice. Got the dodge after all, avoided the fire. Decided to go a little bit tight, just in case they had another bad item to kill me. And yeah, I think stopping there was the right play, just to not end up, you know, with like triple shrooms, shroom or something. That would not be good, or triple shrooms, triple greens. Especially with how far back I was at that point in the race. But yeah, that boomerang I'm not going to consider unlucky or anything. You know, just like on Bowser's Castle at the start, some things will incidentally happen to you. And not every hit is unlucky or, you know, a bad play on your end. So, yeah, I decided to shroom up here, which I think it was decent. Not necessarily the best play, but still not, like, inaccurate. But I ended up pulling a ghost. which was really, really lucky. And now, I'm just in a fantastic spot. Really nothing could stop me at this point. But I do bump off my teammate, which was... Since it didn't happen to me, I'm not going to consider it unlucky. I also don't think I should have done anything differently with that. And I have Ghost in 5, along with a Mushroom. So, if I have to Ghost early, I will. And as you can see, there are hammers coming back. So I have to Ghost early and dodge the hammers. Ghosted the guy's triple shrooms as well. I decided to go tight to avoid the blue and the nanas, but there's a shock. That shock was just brutal. Don't get the boost rings either, and the people behind me do, so it's just super duper unlucky after pulling that ghost, but, you know, I would have probably died, and maybe the shock would have been better or worse. Don't really know. Also, I'm going to consider me staying on the rail a good thing, a great move even. Because it got me a couple spots. I definitely would have lost to the two right behind me, and I think there's a guy that fell off the track at the end, so I got an extra spot, which was pretty funny. So, you never know, those 2 points might matter. Especially if I got green there, I might have even got last, so it's a good thing that I kept my head in it, even though it was looking really bad. And now we got Acorn Heights, which normally I stop for shrooms on. Let's see if I do that here. I do. Don't remember if I get them, actually. I do, okay. And we get a nice draft. And I have to go to the left here to avoid the green. Maybe could have gone to the right still, though, because the green ended up dissipating. And this green is real trouble. If I get back here, my race is over. And I go right over it, which was really, really nice. I could have thrown that green forward to block his trail, but I wouldn't have anything here to protect myself. So that move was great. It ensured that I kept my items and kept my position, which is super rare on Acorn Heights. Because usually you have to sacrifice one of those, especially if there's a guy in front of you that can back something. I also just greened a Nana. That was just coincidental, though. I was trying to green the guy out in second, so I'm not going to consider that anything good. And I do the same thing here to potentially dodge a back, but a little bit lower, which could have killed me, but luckily he did not back me. Probably because he was focused on dodging whatever first had. And I almost end up icing this guy, got rid of his trail on my screen, which you're going to see was not on his screen. Huh? I should just assume there that he still has his green. I don't know why I didn't in that case. Especially if you don't hit anyone. If you don't hit them, you just have to assume that they still have it, which was a miscalculation on my part. And I decided to go really wide here, just land in the wall. And you might not think this is anything at first, but it actually really did help me out, because it also gave me a last place box. And last place boxes are really, really nice, because they give you huge chances at goldens and bills, and those are both really, really good for me in this instance, so. And here as well, I dodged the shock, which is very lucky. Gets me an extra probably 3 spots at least. I mean, maybe I get 6th still, but that was not looking good at all. And we got 2-3 out of that race, which was really, really huge for us. Now we still have a chance at going for, I guess, second, because Edda's going to win, but second's very, very doable. Now we have 2 more to go with Airship Fortress. Try contesting the rail here, which I end up getting pushed off of it, but that's fine. Draft off my teammate, get a shroom. And this was actually a really nice shroom plus rail combo. Usually you actually see people go on the rails with triple items, for example, or reds, because they think they can survive that way, but I actually don't agree with that. I'd rather be on the rail with shrooms, because if you do get hit, whatever, you know, that's probably happening with your triples anyways. But you're more likely to stay on the rail if you're using a shroom. It's going to protect you from bumps a lot better. It's going to kind of like magnet you to the track. And this was really nice, not tricking or getting any pop. Really gave me the chance to draft off that guy, and I end up bumping it off. Now I have a clean first place all to myself. Now we just have to drive and make no mistakes, which, you know, the only real mistake I can make here, I guess, is hitting the lava pillar, and we're already through that. So that's very cool. Now we just keep on driving. We got a Nana. I could maybe back this, but I think keeping it is better. I do pull it out just in case I do want to back it. But I see these triple greens. So I'm like, okay, this guy's not... He's either going to die to the greens, or, you know, the guy in second can shield me from the greens. So either way, I thought it was a better play to just hold on to my Nana. And I ended up pulling a horn, which is really nice. Don't think it's going to matter, but there could be a last second blue. We'll see. The greens come up. I just stare at this thing around the spiral because I have no idea if it's going to hit me. They're all always very scary. And I decide to horn on the left here just in case someone decides to shroom up at the end. And I played basically a perfect race there. There is nothing really to be said about any mistakes or inaccuracies even. So really good stuff. Was no blue either. We take those. And now we have the final race. I am MVP, but just barely. And being on 89 MVP going to the last race is pretty rare, I would say. It's very likely chance that not even anyone in the 100s will occur, I guess. No one will get 100 or better, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I got the starting strat, which was really cool. I don't really get that very often, but got it this time. And I go for this back. I don't get the trick, but that's such a small thing. I'm not going to count it as anything. You get a feather for the feather cut. And I take it perfectly. There's ice behind me, but I think I'm fine, but I'm indeed not. So maybe if I got the trick there, I would have actually avoided that, but I don't know how much the trick would have really saved, especially since it came off the rail as well. Maybe it would have let me live, maybe it wouldn't, so I'm not going to count that as anything, but I was pretty lucky he has ice there. He probably had like shroom ice too, or feather ice or something, I don't know. I don't even know how you draft, so it definitely had to be shroom ice, right? And here, I avoid almost everything except myself. I do not avoid my mistake of not going top path, which, since it doesn't lose too much time, I'm only going to count as an inaccuracy. But I end up shrimming up. My green gets taken out by thin air. Guy teleporting onto it for literally no reason. And here, I don't know why I did that, but I did that just in case I had a bad line. Because I wasn't too sure if I would make it. Tate's now next to me. That red didn't connect, but he probably had defense for it. Regardless. Teammate, I think, ended up failing the top path, which is not good. And now I have ice. I was going to say fire, but ice triple reds. But I end up barely recovering that, and I should not have thrown that ice forward. I could have redded out this guy, but he had triple greens anyways, so it didn't matter too much. And I pulled a ghost. After my red, I dodged the shock, green out the guy in first. Which was just insane. I don't know how that happened, but we take those. I'm counting that as a brilliant and a lucky thing happening because I made the Nisk in the clutch and then got a ghost and then got triple greens and then got shock dodge. So it was more lucky, I'd say, than, you know, a brilliant move, but I'm going to count it as both. And now this is the final table. We ended up getting third, which was quite unfortunate. Definitely plenty of mistakes I made, though, which could have got us first place. Even over Team N. If I didn't make as many mistakes, I could have got like 130 or something. So we're going to go over my performance rating and what exactly it was. I'm going to give myself a starting rating of 14,000 MMR, which is what I'd say I'd be at my peak. Blunders, minus 500. I made 5 of them in total, so it's minus 2,500 MMR off my score of the performance rating. Mistakes, on the other hand, are going to be minus 250, just half of a blunder. I mean, it's 1 question mark versus 2. I made 3 of them. which puts me at minus 750 and at 10,750 MMR as my current performance. But we're going to gain it later, so don't worry. Inaccuracies are going to be minus 100, because you shouldn't be making them, especially at this level. And I made 6 of them, which puts me minus 600 and at 10,150 overall. But here is where we can increase the performance rating. First, with the best moves, I'm only going to consider these at a measly plus 50 because of the fact that, you know, it's stuff you should be doing, but, you know, there have been plenty of instances in this Mogi where I didn't make the best move, and it didn't necessarily hurt me, but I definitely could have done things better, so yeah, that's why it's a lot less than in inaccuracy, for example. I made 10 best moves, which gave me plus 500 MMR, which puts me almost back at 10,750, puts me at 10,650 instead. And now, the great moves. These, I'm going to give myself plus 100, and I ended up making 11 great moves, which boosts my MMR to 11,750, almost at diamond range, and the brilliance will surely put me over the edge, plus 200 for brilliance, and I made 5 of them. It's going to be giving me an extra 1,000 MMR to put me at around, goodness gracious, the mid-diamond range. So my performance rating is 12,750 overall, and you might be saying, well, you MVP'd the room, so how in the world did that add up? Well, there were some lucky moments and some unlucky moments. Usually I'd say the average is about 3 for lucky moments. I got 5. And the unlucky moments, there was normally 12, I'd say 1 per race. I had 9 of them. So I had a pretty lucky Mogi overall. And that is going to be the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And let me know down in the comment section below. Do you want to see this again? Did I get anything wrong in this video? Was there any mistakes that I missed? Please do let me know in the comments. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.